Mr. Ridley's Design and Technology. In this clip we're going to look at an actual GCSE paper. We're going to do a walkthrough on this paper. In this part we're going to look at section A. So we're just going to look at section A, which is the core technical principles. So core technical principles are the same really for all the exam boards, very similar. This paper has a multiple choice, and for the multiple choice, it's really important that you fill them in correctly. I've seen so many papers and I've marked papers where students have got the right answer, but they've failed to fill in the paper correctly. So if you just take a look at that, and the exam board very clearly says how to fill in and also how to change your answer. Now that's really important. So to fill in, we just need to use our pen and just fill in the little oval in the middle. And then you can see there the other ways of doing it. If you have the wrong method, if people put a tick like that by the side of it, the examiner generally won't give you the mark. And it's just a real shame to waste a mark like that. Okay, so we're going to start on the first questions. So, question 1. Which of the following is a technical textile? So we've got brass, graphene, Kevlar and polyester. Well, one way of doing multiple choice here is to think which two could it possibly be, and then just take 2 out. So it could be Kevlar because that's a textile, could be polyester. It's actually Kevlar. So you can see, we've got a pen that works, and we're just going to fill that in like that. If you'd put the wrong answer there, what you need to do is make sure that you clearly cross it out like that. So that, if you got the wrong answer there, then you cross it out like that. If you wish to return to the answer, so if you wanted to go back to that, you do a big circle round the outside. And so really important, because I've seen lots of papers where students have missed marks there. Next question. What term can mean the latest trends in clothing or fashion, or clothing or decoration? I've just told you the answer. Belief, culture, faith, and the answer there is fashion. So we've done that. On to the next page. Question 3. Which of the following has a positive impact on the environment? So we've got global warming, inefficient working, pollution and reducing waste. And there you've got to read the question, because there is positive impact. So a lot of these have an impact on the environment, but only reducing waste will have a positive impact. Next question. Question 4. Aluminium is used in the manufacture of cooking pots because it has which property? So we've got properties there. You should know these properties: absorbency, means obviously it absorbs things, density, electrical conductivity and thermal conductivity. And obviously it's a cooking pot, so it's thermal conductivity. So clearly marking these. Question 5. Name the type of motion that is represented by the symbol below. We've got this symbol going there, and it's not linear, that would be a line. Most students that got this wrong said oscillating. Oscillating would be just a straight line. So reciprocating is, oscillating is correct. Reciprocating would be a straight line. It's easy to get these oscillating. Again, this one and this one, we know it's not this one and this one. These two students get confused, but the answer is oscillating. Question 6. Which one statement about absorption is true? A. Kevlar softens when it absorbs water. MDF expands when it absorbs water. Nylon disintegrates when it absorbs water. Or polypropylene changes colour when it absorbs water. And it is, of course, MDF. MDF is a manufactured board. We can't use it in damp situations. If we do, it expands and basically disintegrates. So that's that one. In a business, A method of raising brand awareness by using websites and social media is called a cooperative, an innovation, virtual marketing, or virtual retailing. Well, it's raising brand awareness, so it's obviously advertising or marketing, so it is virtual marketing. Question 8. A designer has been asked to create load-bearing furniture from card or board. Identify the most suitable material for this product. Well, of course, it's not going to be inkjet card, not solid white, foil line, it's corrugated, because if it's load-bearing, that's corrugated. The clue there is the word load-bearing. So, corrugated card. Okay, question 9. A smart material is one which A, conducts electricity, B, protects against fire, C, reacts to a stimulus, or D, waterproofs fabric. Well, of course, it reacts to a stimulus. If you think of polymorph, you heat it up, add it to boiling water, and it changes. It becomes soft, so it reacts to a stimulus. Which one of the following is a manufactured board? Well, there's ash, balsa, plywood, and spruce. That's obviously plywood. I think that's an easy one. Okay, now we finished those first 10 questions, but we're still on section A, which is core content. So we've got this other question, but these are now, this is a 2-mark question, and it says, give reasons why blended and mixed fibres are used in clothing. Well, I've got a mark scheme here, so I'm just going to hold this up just for a second, and you can take a quick look at that if you want to stop it to look at that mark scheme. But the questions I've put in here are, or the answers that I've put, slightly, probably longer than you need to, but I've said, give 2 reasons why blended and mixed fibre are used in clothing. Using different fibres enhance properties. So polyester for reduced shrinkage, so if you add polyester to cotton, for example, you get reduced shrinkage, and to produce clothing that more cheaply, e.g. polycotton is cheaper than pure cotton. So that would be 2 marks there. So that is question 11. Okay, question 12. Explain the disadvantages of extracting fossil fuels as a source of energy. So you've got to here just look at extracting, because the use of fossil fuels is entirely different. So I've seen students where they haven't read this question and they've said, they've written about the advantages of disadvantages of fossil fuels rather than extracting fossil fuels. Okay, so if we look at our mark scheme here, and we can see our mark scheme there gives a range, and it gives them indicative content there. So if you want to have a look at that, and for the answer, to get the full answer there, you can see there's a 3-mark, 2-mark, or 1-mark possibility of the answer there. And I've just put, mining of coal produces lots of waste and pollution of land and water courses. And then I've said visual pollution associated with open cast mining and power plants near rivers, so cooling water. Power plants tend to put hot water into the river, which can damage ecosystems. So there's question 12, and that would be 3 marks there. Now, the last part here is we're looking at a maths question. So DT, all the DT papers have maths questions in. It's really important that you have a calculator to take to the exam. You're allowed to take a calculator in, and I think most exam boards say also a protractor. It's really silly not to have that equipment. So this says paint is purchased in tins that can cover 4 square meters. Table 1 shows the amount of paint in each colour required to paint 1 train. And quite often, really commonly, they're in about materials or volumes or areas. So if you want to do some maths revision, look at areas and volume, because they're quite often related to that. So I've got the answers here. I've just written the answers here. Here's the mark scheme. So if you want to take a look at that, I'll go through. Basically gives you there. So the answer there is 6 full tins. It's 45 times 50, 22.5 divided by 4. So it gives you there. Always look as well, if they say rounded up or if they say to 2 decimal places, that's quite often important. So there's your mark scheme there, and there's final marks, so final answers. So 6 full tins, and the answer there is, and you can see clearly, I haven't put the working in there, you can look back at it, but calculate your answer to 2 decimal places. So it's important you give it to 6.25. So there we go, 20 out of 20. So that is section A of the DT paper walkthrough. Thank you for watching Mr. Ridley's Design and Technology.